Well, hello, everyone. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News, and I'm your host, Leticia Remauro. I think my mother would call me the wild woman of Borneo. Excuse my appearance. I was in the kitchen running around. I made a treat for the family. Prime rib was actually on sale for $9.99 a pound in Food Lion, and so I scooped up a small one and I made it for the family. But the kitchen got steamy and the heat from the searing of the meat, and oh my gosh, but it was delicious. So anyway, hence the hair. Whenever my hair would frizz up like this, my mother would say, "You look like the wild woman from Borneo." So, anybody else, parents that had pet names for them when they didn't look quite right or do quite well? Robert Santillian, how are you, darling? What is going on in Hawaii? Tell us. Are you running for office? Where are we with that? I know that last we spoke that you were thinking about it. Be great if you were in the 2026 campaigns. Let us know. And I'm sure you would find support amongst this group here. But yeah, tell us what's going on. And also, while you're at it, tell us what you think President Trump is going to announce tonight. He's been on Truth Social saying that it's going to be big and that everybody needs to tune in, and we all should tune in at 9 o'clock. I thought it was going to be a rundown of the year because there are a lot of successes in the year, even though the Democrats don't want to admit it. As a matter of fact, not only do the Democrats not want to admit it, they actually want to pretend that he has done nothing. If anybody has heard Chuck Schumer speak recently, but we know he's done lots. I mean, again, $202.12 for gas in South Carolina. Um, that's in Parker's Kitchen. The average is about 220. Um, Still pretty good. Uh, like as I said, 9.99 a pound for prime rib. That was pretty good. And I think we talked about me paying 29 cents for turkey. So prices are going down. Some states are not allowing the prices to go down, and some entities, the big box entities, are not letting the prices go down. Costco, Amazon. Um, what was the other one? Costco and Walmart. Yeah. So just let's all remember that they're pretending that it has to do with the tariffs. So maybe you'll run. That's good. I think that everybody ought to get their shine on because by the time November 2026 rolls around, this economy should be in pretty good shape because the Democrats have pulled all their punches already, and I can't see what else they could do that would fluster Trump. None of it has flustered him so far. Good evening, Beer Nut. How are you and Bonnie doing? Thank you for tuning in. And thank you for watching, even when you can't watch live. I appreciate it. Hello, my dear friend Angela Bricka. So nice to have you tonight. I don't know what he will say. I like surprises. Me too. I like surprises, but um, I also like to have a sense of what's going on. So many things are happening. I think with Venezuela and the economy, inflation going down, gas going down, food going down. I know that polls are saying that people still don't feel confident, but we talked about that a little bit last night. And, the poll said that he was never going to be president. So I am. Hello, Francine. A bit late is fine. Thank you for joining us. I love that you all make it. And good evening, Kevin Young. So tonight, I was hoping Colleen would hop on because she gave me the idea for tonight's episode, which is going to center on Hollywood and how they are all entangled in Democrat politics. I mean, all entangled in Democrat politics. And, some people might say, so what? Well, there's a real so what. Hollywood is not like us. Hollywood's not like regular Americans. They don't have the same problems we do. Not even the rich ones. Not even the rich regular Americans who became entrepreneurs and got rich. Hollywood is a whole different animal. If I run this coming year, it will be for the opening in my district city council. Whatever you run for, as long as conservative voices are being available for people to vote for, I think it's important. Hello, Susan Derema. Good to have you. Hello, Professor. How are you? So, the problem with these people being involved in things is that the Hollywood people, that is that their world is fantasy. Their world is not our world. Their paychecks have 6 and 7 zeros after them. And if they tank or like lose all their money in the stock market, they just go make another movie. And what they're selling is the sex appeal. They're selling the popularity that people want to be like them. They're selling their looks, their body. They're not making anything except for entertainment. So their world is much different than those of us who've ever opened a business and worked hard at it, not taking a paycheck so that we could pay employees. Hollywood is a different world. Good evening, Ramon. So here's how I prove it. Listen to this little promo.
That some of Hollywood's most cherished stars were living double lives so elaborate that they make today's celebrity scandals look like child's play. Behind the glamour and glitter of the golden age lurked family secrets so shocking that studios spent millions to bury them. We're talking about stars who erased their heritage, invented phantom families, and carried guilt that would destroy them. Glittering premieres, elegant mansions, and adoring fans. The stars of Hollywood's golden age seemed to live charmed lives. But behind those dazzling smiles and carefully posed family portraits lurked secrets so explosive that the powerful studio system spent millions to keep them hidden. These weren't just minor indiscretions. They were life-altering family secrets that would have shattered the pristine images audiences cherished. During Hollywood's golden age, roughly spanning the 1930s to 1960s, stars were manufactured personas, not just actors. Studios like MGM and Paramount controlled every detail of their lives, often fabricating entire identities. Publicists and fixers buried scandals, while ironclad contracts gave studios immense power. Today, with memoirs surfacing and studio records finally emerging, we're discovering the personal sacrifices and secrets these icons kept hidden to preserve their carefully crafted images.
I mean, they had the life built for them. And so they were living fantasies. Now, it's not the same today as it was then, but some of it is the same. The studios still have a lot of power in the lives of these Hollywood stars. So when they start to get involved in politics, it concerns me greatly because they're not regular people. They're not even all who they were. Their lives growing up might have been a regular life, but that's all past once you become a success in Hollywood. And at the root of Hollywood success is sex, right? For women, for men, for gay men. I mean, how many women had to lower themselves to the casting couch to get a part? Still to this day, plenty. Sex was always surrounding. And as I said, I wish that Colleen was on tonight, because a lot of the sex was with underage, with whether it be boys or girls, underage children. And it was perfectly okay in Hollywood. It was perfectly acceptable because you dare not say anything. Otherwise, you don't get a job. It shows that money makes people do bad things. I think you're right about money, but I think that this is a little different than just money. Like, as I said in the beginning, entrepreneurs, people who created an app in their, mother's basement and then sold it for millions of dollars. I think a little bit different. People who started a cookie company or just a regular dry cleaner, right? That struck it successful and maybe had a bunch of dry cleaners and became very rich, would not have the same perspective on things as Hollywood actors and actresses and producers and directors and all that stuff. Why? Because they lived in reality. They may have everything they need, but they lived in reality. Perhaps, family money might be the same as these Hollywood people, right? Because then it's just reputation and whether people like you and what you look like. That's the most important thing. Not that you have a moral compass or a moral center. So I think there's a little bit of a difference between just saying money. Like bankers who might work for a living have a different perspective than those that were born into banking. That's my opinion. I might be wrong. They are all two-faced, multiple personalities. I had a roommate that was an actor, kicked his ass out. Yeah, it's like they're not really sane. All right, I don't want to say that they're insane, but multiple personalities was a good way of saying it. They are not grounded the way most Americans are grounded. They don't have to do the same things. I doubt they take out their own trash. Show business is acting and projection of illusion. Absolutely. Politics is show business. Well, that's the problem, isn't it? Hi, Gloria. Good to have you. Here's the big problem. The thing that drives me crazy is, what is Hollywood doing so involved in our political system? For instance, Rob Reiner was one of the founding members of the Center for Investigating Russia. And here is their website, and there's Rob Reiner. He was there with Max Boot, James Clapper, Evelyn Farkas, General Michael Hayden, Jeb Johnson, Mike Morrell, Norman Orenstein, Lou Panetta, Charles Sykes, and Clint Watts. He was hanging out with spies, people who knew big inside stuff about our nation. Rob Reiner, the actor, was. I wonder what qualified him to do that. He had once said that, and I'm not speaking ill of the dead. It just so happens that he's involved in this, and it's important for us to talk about it. What qualified him to be on that board with those people? I mean, I could understand the CIA people and all that, but why was Rob Reiner there? And why was Rob Reiner sent at the center of this interview? I'm only going to show you a little bit, but watch.
It's a good side.
You don't
so
have
it
a
doesn't
good
matter.
side, it doesn't
We're both
matter.
bad sides.
All right, me too. We're both of the follically challenged. So thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. And the thing that to me is so frustrating is that this cataclysmic thing happened to our country, and people don't seem to understand it, understand the gravity of it. And you guys were talking about how it's unusual for people who have been. How many years experience do you have between you, would you say?
Well, Jim has several hundred, I think.
Probably 80 or 90 between the two of us.
So here you are with all that experience. Have you ever seen anything like this happen in this country? I mean, anything like this kind of attack on our political system?
Well, no, not at least to me, as disturbing as this. I mean, I'm a Vietnam War veteran. I went through all the stresses that in the aftermath of the Vietnam War, but I never felt, even then, that our fundamental institutions were jeopardized. In fact, our fundamental institutions proved themselves resilient then, and we actually came out of all that a better country. And hopefully we'll have the same experience now.
To me, it underscores 2 points. One is how determined Mr. Putin is to shape the political landscape, both inside of Russia as well as outside of Russia. Whether it be in Europe or the United States or the Middle East or other places, he seeks ways to manipulate and exploit the environments. But secondly, it really does underscore just how consequential that digital domain is. And as Jim noted, we've seen these things being done by the Russians over the course of many years. But the fact now that this digital environment, this cybersphere, gives the Russian intelligence security services so much more opportunity to manipulate and to exploit. And they took full advantage of that in the 2016 election. That's why we saw things of much greater concern and intensity than we'd ever seen before. And
so this happened in 2018. It was an hour-and-a-half long interview. You can look it up. You can find it on the Center for Investigating Russia. And it was the movie that put the cherry on the cream of the hoax, the Russian hoax, that President Trump did not win the 2016 election fair and square. And as we know, later on, that was all shown to be false, right? In 2025, in 2024, we learned that it was false, that both Brennan and Clapper were lying, and Rob Reiner and this whole center was perpetrating a hoax. Hollywood was perpetrating a hoax. So how come? How come? They get involved with Satanism. Yeah, I'm going to guess that that's true. I mean, we know that Minnesota has a big Satanistic community, and that Tim Walz allows them to erect a, an exhibit in the Capitol every year. Bill Gates has no medical degree or any other. Yeah. So neither person has experience in the field. You're right. You're absolutely right. I worry more about Hollywood than anything, because Bill Gates, we only know him because of the news, but Hollywood, people know because of movies and entertainment. So everybody knows Hollywood, and they tend to be drawn to the glitz and the glamour of it. But they don't realize that voting the way Hollywood tells you to vote is not voting for your interest. It's voting for their interest. Just because they're a Democrat party, or that's where they feel they belong in the Democrat Party, doesn't mean they're voting for the interests of the working people. They're voting for the interests of themselves. I don't get why his son is involved. Sounds like he is a patsy. I can't understand exactly what happened with the son. There was a fight, clearly, and that has been on record. But the son really, as I'm hearing today, from the information, is that, and we discussed this yesterday, the son had the hotel room first before he came back to kill his parents, because when he checked in, he didn't have any blood on his hands. When they found him, the room was covered in blood. Brennan got appointed, not promoted. The next in line was passed over. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Ever hear of Charles Manson? Yes, of course I've heard of Charles Manson. Okay, give us some information about. Ever hear? Yes, I put that up already. In the interest of powers that be. Which powers that be? That becomes the question, right? Is it Obama? Who is it? I mean, here's a clip of Clooney that blew my mind a little bit. Listen to this. Listen to Clooney talking about how he wanted to be involved in Darfur and was. Watch.
Yourself, but then you can also be very political and really stick yourself out there.
Sometimes, yeah.
How much of a balanced struggle is that?
It's a struggle. I try to do it when I think I have a responsibility to, quite honestly. My father always told me to, challenge people with more power than you and protect people with less power, and that's your job, and that's the most important thing you can do. I believe in that. I teach our kids that. One of the things you understand is you can't take on every fight, or it just loses all of its power. You have to pick things. I worked on trying to help solve some of the problems in Darfur in the early 2000s. Failed. We tried. I went there 8 or 9 times, but overall failed. You fail more often than you succeed.
Why was Darfur that thing?
Because no one could get in. I just finished doing like an Oscar campaign for Good Night and Good Luck. So we were everywhere, kissing babies. It's really like running for politics, How you doing? How's it going? How you doing? And I couldn't get cameras off of me. And I was reading Nicholas Kristof's articles in the New York Times, and they couldn't get a camera in there, and there's hundreds of thousands of people being killed. I stupidly thought making it louder would make the difference. I thought this idea of never again, this idea that if we knew about it, we'd do something. And the truth is that's not necessarily the case. And that was a surprise for me. But it doesn't mean you don't keep trying. It doesn't mean you keep, we still work there. We're still involved.
During the election, you threw yourself into politics with that guest essay in the New York Times. Looking back, would you do that again?
Yes. We had a chance. I wanted there to be, as I wrote in the op-ed, a primary. Let's battle test this quickly and get it up and going. I think the mistake with it being Kamala is that she had to run against her own record. And it's very hard to do if the point of running is to say, I'm not that person. It's hard to do. And so she was given a very tough task. I think it was a mistake, quite honestly. But we are where we are. We were going to lose more House seats, they say. So, I don't know. To not do it would be to say, I'm not going to tell the truth.
Did you see Hunter Biden's reaction?
Yeah, I saw it.
What did you make of it?
Well, I could spend a lot of time debunking many of the things he said, because many of the things he said were just outright lies. Obama didn't put me up to it. It wasn't my fundraiser. It was my fundraiser. All the things. But the reality is, I don't think looking backwards like that is helpful to anyone, particularly to him.
So I was just refreshing my memory about Darfur, and it was what's actually going on in Africa right today. It was ethnic cleansing by the Muslims of the Christians, and apparently the UN Council got involved in it, and it never stopped. It lessened, but again, actors deciding that the United States should get involved in international politics. Interesting. And interesting that they're all silent on what's going on now, because we have a president who's actually commenting on the ethnic cleansing going on in Africa, and that he wants it stopped, but not one of them is standing behind him. So interesting, just interesting. BS, I'm going to guess that was for Clooney. Clooney has been caught in a photo with Obama on a small boat getting a BJ from a young Asian girl. I don't doubt it. I haven't seen it, but she's now deceased. I haven't seen that photo. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't believe anything I don't see with my own eyes, but if you say you saw it, Santillian, I'm with you. Hello, Lucille. Good to have you. But here's the thing. So we have Reiner involved with the CIA and Russia. We have Clooney involved with Darfur, and also in the election for president in 2024, and who should be the candidate. I mean, when did Hollywood become advisors to Washington? And are you comfortable with it? I am not comfortable with it. I am actually very, very uncomfortable with it. I'm actually uncomfortable with the ones that are in there forever and ever, that we've elected many, many times to Congress, still being there. Because in many ways, they're like these guys. They're protecting or getting involved in stuff for their own interest. They're no longer putting forth votes for the best interest of America. Look at Mike Lawler today. Look at the 4 Republicans, Fitzpatrick, Lawler, I forget the other 2, who are forcing the vote or forcing the bill to the floor. Instead of working with leadership, they're throwing a wrench in the works. I usually like stuff like that. But what I don't like is that the reason Lawler's doing it is to save his own ass. And if he's watching and he gives me a call and tells me, fuck you, I don't care, because I know him and I know well enough. His district is a purple district, and he's worried that he needs to get reelected. And the same with Fitzpatrick. They're not solid red districts. That pisses me off. You know what? Don't do the wrong thing to protect your ass. Now, I'm not saying that everything that Lawler has put in his bill is wrong, but I know that in this and what's going on right now in this environment, we should be sticking together, because pulling ourselves apart doesn't work. The Democrats stick together, and look at where they've gotten. We need to push back on their unified tongue. Actors should keep out of politics. Yeah, well, Lucille, they're really heavy into it. It's not just endorsement here and there. They're heavy into it. They're meeting with CIA people. They're meeting with White House people. They're meeting with presidents. And why is Obama all over Hollywood? I'd like to know. Used to be 4-star generals in USMC were from infantry. Today, aviators are getting in. Okay, I get you. Mike Lawler got the shaft on the gubernatorial. Yeah, I get it. I get that he got the shaft on the gubernatorial because he couldn't win. And he, it just was ridiculous for him to be running for governor. He's not even a great congressman. So, I'm sorry. I don't know about you, Rich, but I know Mike a long time. I've got nothing. That's all I'm going to say about Mike. Okay. Is that you don't save your own ass at the expense of the American people or your party. And sometimes that happens. I can tell you he's not a Trump fan. And that's not a secret. The people at the top were not ever at the bottom. Right. That's what I'm talking about. The people at the top were never at the bottom. And that's why when they are manipulating the Democrat Party and telling people how to vote, I'm like, what? They're not voting for your. How the hell do they know what it's like to be a coal miner or a used car salesman or a healthcare professional or somebody who sweeps the hospital room after you vacate? They don't. Elise can't win either. No, nobody can win, Rich. It's done. It's done. It's your party now. The Democrats have to pick somebody who's more blue dog. I mean, I've been saying this all along that 2026 is going to be the last time Staten Island's going to be Republican. I think that we're going to start seeing seats lost all over the place. New York City, with Mamdani, and everybody leaving. Who's left to vote, Rich? Who's left to vote? Blakeman Pinion can win in the general. No, he can't. Against Kathy Hochul, Bruce Blakeman? No, absolutely no. There's nothing that would make Blakeman win that. You have to be able to overcome New York City in order to win the gubernatorial. 62 counties in New York. New York City, those 5 counties are worth all of the North Country and part of the East. There's no way. How is Bruce Blakeman going to sell himself to socialist Mamdani New York City? He can't. At least with 2 women running against each other, you might have a shot, but you really don't. You don't, because the Republicans have left. That's what's happened. The Republicans have left New York, and so I can't see Elise winning either. But the conversation is Hollywood. Think about it. Next time you see somebody talking about Hollywood, this one or that one or the other one, No, Hollywood taking over the Democrat Party is just it's ridiculous. It's like a fox selling life insurance to chickens. I don't know if that's a good analogy. He can win because he's not Kathy Hochul. Well, if that was the case, then Elise good at two. Listen, I'd rather have two women go against each other than a man and a woman, especially when the man's the conservative, especially in a socialist state. And Pinion got 44% against Schumer with no money. Yeah, well, but it was a different time. We weren't all gone then, Rich. We were all still there. Cuomo couldn't beat Lazio, so step up Palladino. Goodbye, Lazio. Then Palladino bows out. How convenient. Yeah, I got it. All right, I got to go. I said I'm not going to go much later than 30. So everybody, love you. I will see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock.